Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. Today, I welcome Nene to the show where we're going to be talking about self-confidence, self-love, being more seen, and much, much more. So Nene is a self-love and confidence coach and an international speaker, working with introverted women in business who want to gain confidence, to be more visible, to feel seen, heard, and understood. So welcome to the show. I'm glad we made this happen, Nene. I know we talked a little bit. So first of all, be really interested to hear, like, for the listener, I know a little bit about your story, but for the listener, like, what got you into helping women in this particular area and this area of self-love and self-confidence?
First of all, thank you for the invite. It's been a pleasure, to be here and to have this conversation. And for me, the reason why I got into it is because of myself. Physician healed herself, right?
Yeah.
I was a shy introvert. Not all introverts are shy, but I happen to be one of those introverts who were shy. Growing up, not having that, would you say, confident belief because of series of events that happened made that introversion even worse. And over the course of time, having decided to take that stake in the ground to say, no, this is it, I've had enough, let's do something about it. That's when the transformation started. And that's when I started getting involved with it. I guess for me, it was around when Michael Jackson was coming to town. And after being told that you can't do certain things, being not just the introversion, I'm also dyslexic, and I've got a birthmark, which is such beautiful, on my left arm. And a series of events that happened made me go inwards, made me want to be invincible, made me want to just not be, unto the point I have this burning passion, desire that, I need to be heard. And then that's when the desire came true.
Oh, wow. And then you felt cool to help others with that as well. So you needed to be heard. What, obviously we've seen each other's, in our community, lots of people making their journey, and it's great to see like that evolution and people doing different things. We're all in different stages. Mm-hmm. So perhaps the individual who's really wanting to build up, and also I really like what you said about distinguishing that being an introvert doesn't mean you're necessarily shy, because I know we've all got different perceptions and things like that. So thank you for sharing that one as well. But for the individual who perhaps is that super shy individuals, whatever personality type, and they really want to feel seen, they want to move out a little bit more, what first steps could they take? Do they have to do a massive jump into a big networking thing, or could they do something else?
Totally not a massive jump, because that would just make the introversion even worse. I think that the premise is to really know who they are, because our tendencies are different. It's not about being like anyone else. It's really knowing who you are. When you can connect and align with who you are, then you're okay and comfortable being okay with not everyone being okay with you. Because that's the key thing. Once you really work on, especially the identity, the standards of integrity, what do you stand for? How do you connect to you? Are you then able to have that moving forward? So really figuring out and knowing that if there's someone, a way one can use is, if there's somebody you admire who, okay, I like this person, you know what? You admire them because you see something in them that's in you. So when you can then tap into, okay, this person, I like what, pick out what are those adjectives, what are those things that they are, and start using in you, and start building your own confidence in that sense, in terms of aligning and bringing that into your being. Because the key thing is what we have here, whatever we say to ourselves, even if it's true or not, it is our truth. So creating those new beliefs, creating those new, this is what I stand for, this is my standard of integrity, would then help you in that journey of, and then there are tools and techniques on what you can do to step out, to start owning your own visibility.
Love that. Yeah, coming back to who you are and understanding that a little bit. Taking the time, and I guess that might take a little bit of work for someone sometimes, will it? Or
yes, I guess the whole idea is having that awareness. Once you know that, yes, you know what, I'm ready. I want to be, I want to start taking my own space. Not necessarily shouting a top roof or like whatever it is, but you want to start having that, like, hello, I'm here, or like, pick me, like I'm capable, not because I'm like, I like my own space, doesn't mean I'm not able to lead or not able to run or whatever it is. So once you have that awareness, and then there's certain and then walking through knowing who you are, there's certain things you can do, like the simple thing of that rule, which we've learned from like our mentor, Dr. Jessica McClendon, he said the 50-yard rule, just the mere fact of sending love to someone. You don't have to be the first one to say anything, but just saying, in your head, I love you, without actually physically saying I love you, that will then attract people to you. That's the way people will then start kind of like finding a way to like connect with you. Having that love for others, in turn, having love for self, would start bringing that attraction to yourself, and really having all the tools of changing the narrative, because our brain wants to keep us safe. So when we think like, yes, you know what, now I'm good, now, no, we're fine here. Like, we're cool. Let's stay where we are. And then having those phrases and words that like, thank you for sharing, I'm good to go, I need to do this, and stuff like that would then help in that progression as well.
Yeah. So I like the 50. I'm glad you brought up the 50-foot, like that rule with the love and changing your energy, right? While changing your thoughts, and ultimately that energy to other people as well.
Totally. It's one of those things that we feel like we have to be masters of anything. Because what we had to realize that everybody was once a disaster. Every master was once a disaster. Knowing that we start from somewhere and you have to build up. If you haven't done something before, you want to show up in your business, you want to start getting that client or whatever, and you think, my goodness, I have to be like omega and stuff like that. But knowing that, giving yourself that grace that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to anchor myself to doing a thing, and failing forward, learning, progressing as I move on, is like a way to go than thinking like, oh, I can't, no, not like me, no. Give yourself that chance of progression, the 1% degree, like whatever it is, just fail forward, starting small, and see how it goes.
Starting small, I love that. And yeah, whilst we're talking about those small steps as well, like we talk about praise a lot. That's another point, and making sure you praise. I mean, I know that's something I've given people I've coached in the past to do, making sure they're celebrating those small steps. And it might be something you do as well.
100%. 100%. I think it's the key thing of, if I knew this, like, it would have been massive. Just the mere fact that you tried, like, even regardless of the outcome, you did it. Yes, I did it. Yes, celebrate, anchor it in, because that feeling releases all those endorphins and all those like lovely feeling that next time you're in that scenario, you're like, okay, we did it once, we can do this again. And then you can then go. Then when you like finish something and it's like, oh gosh, that's the feeling that you get next time you get in that same scenario. So knowing that, I tried showing up, like I went on video and I was like, but like, you did it. That's the key thing, that step. Like, I showed my face. I didn't say anything, but I did a B-roll, like whatever. Like I tell my clients, like, it's about the doing, because clarity comes with action. When you're doing it, then you feel comfortable, and then you're not, okay, yeah, I did that before. With that celebration makes you be okay to do the next step and make you be able to expand and then do all those things. And I would add that visibility or doing all these things is not all about showing your face. There's so many ways one can do it. There is a podcasting, which you're lovely doing here. People who don't want to show their face, you can do the podcasting, you can't do the blogs and the writing and the various forms. So when I tell my ladies, like, there isn't one way to be visible. All you have to do is really connect and know how do you want to, and what feels right for you, what feels right for your own tendencies, and then take it through that way. Because what works for Mary doesn't work for Martha. So like knowing that, okay, this is my lane, and then go with that way.
I think we've got an important theme that we're bringing up here about this not comparing and, you know, being on your journey and understanding who you are and being able to move forward. I just wanted to re-emphasize that you've, you know, we've been kind of touching on a little bit, because comparison is a huge thing. I often get feedback from people who are struggling with, and I know I've certainly suffered with it many times. We can get admittedly caught up with it from time to time. We live in that kind of world, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And what I do tell my ladies is like, see others for inspiration, and you see yourself for progress. See them like, wow, that's possible. That means I can do this too. Then be curious. What did you do? Like, how did you, like, be curious, and then figure out with your own resources, your own time, how can you make it happen for you? And then see, okay, step by step, what am I doing to take that inspired action to see the progression? So in that way, you're not being, and another phrase I like to share with my ladies is like, good for you, same for me. Like, man, you can do that. Like, man, it's coming down my way. And that way it helps move that kind of like, she's having fun, or she's whatever. It's like changing the narrative, like, wow, good for you, same for me. That means it's possible.
Love that. Yeah, self to self for that progress, and then looking at others for what's possible, but in a way of love and respect, and knowing you've got that potential as well. I really like that. You know, we're obviously part of the same community, and I know you're coaching women in business. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear about how the impact of coaching has helped, maybe, or if it has, your confidence in your life, having a coach, having a mentor.
It is helping to see the blind side, things that I don't actually see, being able to, like, having a coach, being a coach is just, I would recommend it to anyone. Like, anyone who says they don't have one, I'm like, what are you doing not having one? Like, it's like it's helping you to then be free to just offload yourself. Because we are holding space for a lot of people. We need someone to hold that space for us. We need someone to kind of like, yeah, well done, or kind of like check yourself, like, you know, because we might be going because we want to serve, we want to like help, and then you're finding like, but I find like when you have a coach, not only are they helping you to see the blind side, they're helping you to really expand and see other ways, and like your coach is a couple of steps ahead of you, so you can then see, okay, this is how I can progress, or this is like how I would want to, or that possibility is there, and that's someone to just banter and just like offload and just know that you're also in that safe space.
Love that. Having I mean, I find I've got like a couple of coaches, a couple of different things, but I personally find it super, it's like one of them's more of a mentor in an area as well, one of them's a sort of a life coach, but it really helps me to have that, like, you know, checking when I'm, you know, maybe got limiting beliefs coming up, and those kind of things maybe blocking me. It's really been a benefit. And I like what you said about like, what are you doing about a coach? And yeah, there's, you know, the Michael Jordans, the best athletes of the world, you know, the stars out there, they've all got coaches. You know, why wouldn't I have one, or why wouldn't someone have one?
Totally, like you said, like I've got like a coach in the coaching space, a business coach, a life coach. Like I get different things from, you know, in those containers and in that view. So it's knowing now, okay, this person is what I would use for this, and this is helping me to grow the business or ideas, and this person is like, okay, how am I balancing things? You know, whatever it is, like having that is very vital.
Yeah, totally. In different spaces sometimes. Cool. So Nene, I wanted to kind of touch on beliefs a little bit, because ultimately I find they've driven my life, and lots of people, when I speak to them, it's something I learned from, Tony Robbins very strongly after hearing him in several events. He always goes on it, it comes up again and again and again. Like, obviously, the role of a coach can really help you with some of those beliefs and unpicking them. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you found as a useful practice to kind of unpick them a little bit, or become more aware of some of yours?
Yeah, I think it's more like with having that awareness of like, okay, what am I saying to myself? Because the language is so, but it is so important. Like when you say things like, oh, I have to now do this. Like you get to do that thing, changing the language. Because I believe like we hold dear to our beliefs. And it's really unplugging and pulling it out. Because like I mentioned earlier, whatever we say is our truth. We believe it. So we then have that power to choose to change it, to change the narrative. Because even if people are telling you, oh no, you're great, you're this, you're that. If you don't feel it for yourself, it's not going to happen. So knowing that, the key thing is having that awareness that, okay, this is what I feel. And then figuring out what are those things that I want to stand for. Like, it's more kind of like a process one has to take for themselves of like knowing that, okay, this is coming up for me. How do I then flip it? How do I then change it? A simple act of rephrasing can be one, but I would just employ people to go a deep dive into really writing down what are those things that you feel about yourself, like dump it all down. What do I believe in myself? And then ask, what do I want? What are those things? Like, what do I stand for? Maybe seeing what people we admire or whatever we like. It could be like a grandma who like is so nurturing. And then we feel like, yes, I'm a nurturing person. And then taking that on for ourselves and embodying it. Because we can sing all the believe like, yeah, I am confident, I am this, I am that. If we don't really connect and ingrain that in us, we're just singing, of my view anyway, we're just saying the words. It's not going to stick. It's making sure that we are integrating it into ourselves. Because yes, affirmations are great, which helps with reinforcing the beliefs. But to me, affirmations are words that we want to embodying ourselves. That's why we affirm. We're not affirming because we believe those things. We're affirming them because those are the things we want to now become our new truths. So that's one way people can then help in start changing the way they believe themselves, in using emotions, feelings, feeling into those words and really connecting and breaking. Because we as humans, we've had these thoughts, these beliefs, like whatever how old we are, or like whatever situation happened. So taking that time to change that narrative is giving yourself grace for that time, and knowing that in the beginning, like anything, is going to be a bit of a struggle maybe, or like hard work, but over time it becomes easy, becomes second nature, it becomes like who you are.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, especially with the affirmations and reaffirming what what you want and what's going to support you. So Nene, thank you so much for everything you shared, and obviously all the work you're doing in the world at the moment for people. Where can people or the listeners find you, and have you got any final points to share, or a point to share with us as well?
Yeah, I would just want to add that I just wanted your listeners in particular to just remember that your voice matters. They have to take that ownership in themselves. They have to take that stake in the ground and say, you know what, this is it. I am going to do that, which I want to help me in whatever. It doesn't have to be the visibility thing, whatever you want for yourself. Knowing that your voice matters and it's your time to use it is vital. And yes, you can connect with me in connectwithnene.com. It has all my social places there. I mostly hang in Instagram, so come say hi. And yeah, I would love to connect with folks. And I'm bringing out a mini, not mini, I'm having a course soon for my ladies to really help bust those and unlock those the inner power so they can show up confidently and crush those self-doubts, crush those limiting things that's affecting them so they can show up visibly in their business.
Awesome. Love it. We'll be sure to include that all in the show notes. So once again, Nene, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Awesome. So that concludes our episode for today. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.